Hello guys, we are back once again.
Hey.
And this is me and Dennis. Long time no see. It's been about a week, but we are here again with new content that you totally did not see a few minutes ago when I was accidentally broadcasting it instead of recording it.
This was an intentional tease, of course. What?
An intentional teaser. I definitely intentionally teased that for those solid few seconds. But yeah, so you've already seen some stuff, but we're going to show you guys more, obviously, and we're going to talk about it a bit more. And then, yeah, we're going to ask her more questions.
Yeah,
so,
yep. Q&A in the end.
I guess we just go straight back into things.
So basically what we did now is we released the first of a number of patches that you guys have seen, like, teased at E3, like some of the new content. There was the crossbows was there, there was sorts of weapon balances, the fog, etc. Some of these things were in our last update. Update 2.
Yeah, so what comes next? Update 2.0. 2.1.
2.1. So basically what we're going to talk about today is the next patches, the next updates, the next series of content we want to release. And that will go live on the test server not today. Just spoiler already. Yeah. But it will be very soon. Yeah. So expect that very likely to be in we're at the moment thinking about possibly early next week. We're going to talk a little bit about what we will plan of releasing there, what will go live on the server, and we'll just run you through some of the cool things there.
Now, let's get started. So you guys might have already seen it, but we have a Spectre bayonets. As you can see, shooting and stabbing.
So this is basically just like a small little variant of an existing weapon. People have been playing with the Spectre before, and we just want to like upgrade it a little bit, give it a bit more like diversity in close combat. Putting a bayonet on weapons usually works very well for that. Yeah. So it's just one of the small things of the patch, but you will see a theme kind of like emerging once we look at the next weapons.
Yeah, it's actually really funny because like whenever I take like a talon or something, I end up forgetting that I have it at the end of my weapon and I don't use it ever, and I just use a knife. But maybe I should start using this more because it feels more badass.
So the next one is we're gonna add a bit more silencers to this whole thing. So the first of the weapons we're gonna show is the sparks with a silencer.
In the fog, because
yeah,
during fog.
I want to see if they notice it maybe on their own, that there is something changing on the time of day slightly.
Yeah,
what
so
could that be?
I just want to quickly replay that so you can hear like how much you can hear if you're getting shot and if you shoot. So you're getting shot here, very silent.
So basically what we thought about is, you know what? We do have the Nagant pistol with a silencer, and that's a great option also for solo players. However, we are lacking a bit of like stealth options in the game. So as I mentioned before, you might actually see a theme here
coming.
And with a bayonet, with a silencer, there's going to be more weapons now in the game, which allows you to play a bit more stealthily. So you can kind of like move around areas a bit more without having to necessarily reveal yourself. Obviously, each of these guns comes with the usual drawbacks. Like a sparks with a silencer isn't as powerful as a sparks without a silencer. Yeah. So you actually have a reduction in the range. The sights a little bit differently because you have this bulky canister in the front, which you can use as a makeshift silencer. And the ranges are kind of reduced because of that all.
Yeah, I have to say, when I was trying it, I do think the sparks is still pretty strong for a silence weapon.
It is.
Definitely, but obviously in general, like the fact that it has one hit and then a reload is still for me a drawback. That's why I never did.
Yeah, I think like the headshot kill range is about like 40 to 50 meters, so it's a bit reduced, but it's still pretty far out.
Okay, and then next we have a Winfield silencer. Definitely not as powerful, but
more flexible.
More flexible. More shots to miss, as you can totally not see in this next piece of content.
But this was just to prove the point that this is actually a weak weapon also. Like, it's not overpowered.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And here, you can land a headshot, but this is definitely... You did not see him walk up. He did not come back to life.
So the advantage of these weapons is that obviously if you go play solo, you have a bit more things to choose from now. You're not necessarily restricted to just going loud and then just having either your knife or possibly just like the Nagant pistol. You have a couple of primary weapon options now as well. Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. I definitely feel the Winfield silencer is far from as powerful as the regular Winfield when trying it. So it is definitely if you want to take a silencer. But he did not get back up from the headshot. This is not staged at all. But it definitely feels like it's a good balance because like you do have some advantage if you have a silenced weapon, but if you have a weaker silenced weapon but still being silenced, like I personally still like using the Nagant silencer because it's just a very fun weapon to have a silencer. So I definitely think it works. It works well. So what do we have next? We have a combat axe.
Ooh. So the combat axe is basically bringing the vault item, the wood axe you can find in the compounds, into a slightly updated, changed format. So you still can find them just in the vault, but now you have a chance to just always bring one as a medium-sized backup.
So this is something I don't know, but a curious question, and I think I know the answer already, sadly. But if you have a tomahawk strike, do you throw away your own axe?
Not yet. So what we plan on doing is we want to expand what tomahawk allows you, which is like picking up the walled items and just throwing them. I want to expand that to other weapons, other melee weapons in the arsenal. That will come at a later time. At the moment, the combat axe or anything which is kind of bound to your inventory is not throwable and then pick up again. So it's kind of limited to those walled items. But moving forward, we also still want to go forward and actually adding that feature to those as well.
Okay, yeah, I personally think it's nice that we have multiple like variants of melee weapons. Obviously, the axe does more damage. What is the drawback of the axe?
I mean, the axe is a bit of a bulkier weapon, right? Like everybody who has been using the wood axe in the game so far knows that like it's very powerful. You can bring, for example, like an armor down quite easily, but it comes obviously at a hefty stamina cost per strike. So the good advantage is like if you compare this, for example, against the Romero hatchet as like a weapon that kind of like does very similar things. But gives you the one shotgun shot as well. It's like that this one reliably kills like grunts with one normal strike even. But where the hatchet you sometimes hit the arm or some other things and it just don't quite kill them. This one very reliably just like sweeps around. So it's a very, very economic weapon because it's very cheap. I think we put it in a shop for like around 4 or so.
And it comes pretty low on the bloodline.
Yeah, like this is one of the earlier ones. So it gives basically new players a bit of like a bigger, stronger melee weapon right away without having to wait for the machete to unlock like in I think it's like rank 30 something or so.
Yes. Okay, next one. We have the throwing knives.
Yay! So this is gonna be a favorite one, I think.
Yeah, it's really fun to just, even if you don't properly use them, like, I mean, I just really have to practice the aiming, but I do feel like that it is something just fun to have and mess around with, because when we were recording this stuff beforehand, I was doing with someone from QA, and like he's just like constantly like spamming knives everywhere just to fuck with people, but it's just really enjoyable and really fun to do.
What you saw also is like that you can pick those knives back up.
Yeah.
And that makes it very economic. So the knives come not as a main weapon, but they come as a tool, which means you can kind of like equip them besides your or a shotgun or rifles or whatever you want to go with in a mission.
Yeah.
And gives you like that stealth option regardless of your primary loadouts.
And you can pick up your knives, but if you were to say you're fighting against someone and they throw knives at you and you have throwing knives on you, but you have like only 1 out of 6, you can pick up those knives as well. So you can mix match with your team and other enemies.
It's limited to having the weapon. So if someone throws a knife at you, you just can't pick that one up and throw it back unless you also have them and you have some space to pick it.
Yeah, they're not as overpowered as people thought they were going to be and one-shot everything. Definitely not. But they are a very fun tool.
I must say though, like a knife in the right spot really hurts.
I mean, that's true. Okay, what is coming next? I think it's a... Oh yeah, we got a weak fatality shot now and a strong fatality shot. Yeah, we still have to do that, it's fine.
Exactly.
We good.
So basically what we thought about was... we looked a little bit at the consumables in general, and one thing that is happening at the moment, which is dominating the loadouts in the meta, is the vitality shot. Just one of the things people do is they just bring 2-3 of those ideally into a mission, and because they're quick to use, they can replenish if you're lucky from killing other players. It gives you the chance to kind of keep the health up very much throughout the entire game. You just duck behind it like a tree somewhere, inject, and back you are.
I see everyone is very disappointed. No, guys.
There's someone saying perfect change.
There is. You both have the normal fatality shot still and the weak fatality shot. So there is 2 fatality shots. One heals 50 and the other still full health. Is just more expensive. Calm down. No. Shh.
So what we try to do is we want to make sure that getting the option of a full recharge comes at a price. The similar way, if you bring a big dynamite bundle, it costs you.
Yeah.
You rarely see someone bring 3 dynamite bundles into a mission because it's quite a bit of a price tag on it. What we want to make sure is that people still bring their vitality shots. They bring maybe a weak one, they bring a strong one. This is really up to them. But they bring also other stuff. Because at the moment, it completely blocks out your consumable slots. You bring a dynamite, you bring a couple of those vitality shots, and that's about it. Yeah. And I want to make sure that maybe you bring 1, maybe you bring 2. But you also bring maybe that flash bomb. You also bring maybe that concertina bomb to defend now as you have killed the target and you're banishing. Like, we want to get a bit more options into the game. So we're looking into changing the economy slightly behind that. That means the full recharge becomes a bit more expensive, but we also offer you a much cheaper small one as a consumable, which will be available like from the get-go, and you can just like use that if you just want to have a filler slot quickly.
So how much are both the vitality shots now? Because I see a lot of people like, oh my god, how much does it cost?
So the first numbers I didn't see. I think the small one is 15, I think, at the moment, and the new one will be 75. And obviously these numbers are subject to change. This is the first thing we want to put out on a test server. Depending on feedback, we might just like make it even more expensive, make them less expensive, see how they fit into this whole thing. But the idea is we want to provoke people from not only bringing vitality shots.
Exactly. And in general, I see people are very like, oh my god, 75. But if you think about it, everyone just spent vitality shots. Like nobody's ever thought about like, I'm not going to take this vitality shot. Yeah, you have to think about it. It should not just be spamming vitality shots.
So if you run the math, basically that means if you bring 1 or 2, usually you can recoup these costs just easily in the map. If you bring 3, if you bring 4, maybe if you die, it becomes a bit more expensive.
Exactly. So no worries, you still can have both. It's just one of them is more expensive and more effective, and the other is a bit cheaper, like quite a lot cheaper and less effective. Let's
have a look at the video one more time. Actually, let's just rewind quickly, because there's like a second part to this whole thing. Ooh.
I didn't even know that there's a second part. Oh wait, I mean, this is something you guys may haven't seen yet. Look at that. Oh no!
What did you do?
I fucked up. Wait, I just want the split second that has the icons. The icons.
Yes. So
you see? I got icons.
Put a bit more readability in there. These icons are still subject to change. So what you see there are not the final ones you'll see on the test server. But what you can see already is that like we just make it a little bit easier for you to identify which of the syringes does what, and makes it easy just like to pick the correct one at a time. It's a minor change. But the thing I want to show you is actually something different. And you will see it right now. So if you now count the time, actually what you notice is injecting takes a little bit longer. So we kind of increase the time from injecting vitality shot from 3 to 5 seconds. So that means they're still going to be faster than just going through the bandage and doing multiple stages, but it's not as instant. You also can't just quickly swap away from them before the animation is finished, because the health only recounts the last bit. It takes a moment to kind of like be absorbed. It just means that you need to be more cautious when to use them, and hopefully that makes sure that people just like run and gun all the time.
Exactly. Yeah, I do feel that it was too fast. Like you can just gun, you know, it didn't really.
Yeah. Before the issue was kind of like you just hit somewhere in the arm, but like I mean, normally that's not how it works, right?
I'm good to go, guys.
Okay, then let's move on.
Yeah, what do we have next? I think it might be some crossbows.
Oh, the crossbows. So this is the first of the crossbows we're going to show you. This is the hand crossbow. So don't get confused by the name, because this is actually a medium-sized slot weapon, which means it's not gonna be like a quick single backup because it is very, very powerful. So what you see at the moment here is just it being used against the base enemies, obviously, but like this thing is a one-hit kill to the upper chest against the player at very short range. So crossbows are powerful, they're meant to be powerful, but they come with a number of drawbacks, which we're going to talk about.
Ignore the FPS. I had to quickly record everything before and put together, so it's not as nice as I wanted it to look, but we were pressed on time. Things were very hurried.
Let's rewind one more time.
Yeah.
Because we're going to skip through a couple parts there. So we have the default hand crossbow, but we also have a variant of it we're going to release, which is the hand poison crossbow. So you can see that in a second when the new weapon is coming up.
Yeah, so like the way I did it, I recorded it quickly because also time, to give a visual of how it looks like when somebody hits. No, we actually have 60 FPS.
So here, what you can see is the second version. This is the poison hand crossbow. The poison hand crossbow basically has like a little glass vial sitting on the tip, and that kind of bursts on impact, and that is super powerful against AI. So like a grunt, if you hit him in the toe, he dies. An armored goes down in 2 hits. Well, you can guess it. The spider and the hive, they're kind of like not really affected by it at all. They're not very impressed by this. So this is a weapon which is powerful against some enemies, but it's completely useless against others.
And you can't retrieve the bolts either. So
yes, so that's the difference to the normal hand crossbow. On the normal one, you can just go and retrieve the bolts. This one just bursts on impact, it's gone.
Breaks.
Now, that brings us to a point about crossbows in general, which is worthwhile to talk about. You cannot resupply crossbows at all in the game, except for retrieving arrows. That means on the normal hand crossbow, you need to collect the arrows. But on the poison one, you definitely have only those 13 shots, and that's it. So you have to be very careful how to use it, because it comes like with an end, basically.
And how much damage do they do on players? Because obviously I didn't have the chance to record with actual people this time, but what about players?
So as I said before, like the hand crossbow is like a kill on the upper torso on close range. Obviously, they kind of bleed damage very quickly, right? Like they lose it over distance very, very fast. So they are limited to kind of short range. But this one is very powerful, and you can bring down a player if you have a nice good hit.
And the poison effect?
The poison is weaker. The poison is not as effective against other players. It's where it's more effective against AI. However, I think it does like almost half damage or so. Because obviously it still kind of hurts, but then you're getting poisoned as well, which means it impacts your vision again for the same amount of time. So obviously you can kind of prepare with antidote, or you can take the respective traits like to kind of make it less painful for you. But getting poisoned at the wrong moment still might completely put you off. And
do we want to share this stuff?
No, not yet. That's a secret.
Okay, I said nothing. We know nothing. But yeah, so 2 different bolts so far.
Yep.
Maybe more.
Medium-sized weapon, so interesting to use in combination with, for example, a dodge precision or hand cannons of some sort, or if you have quartermaster as a backup for a secondary.
Yep. Good. Nobody hears me. That's the reason I was whispering.
So then we have the main crossbow. So this one is like full size, so it takes a large slot. Even more powerful, so more range. You can kill AI players at further distances with this one, but it has the same drawbacks. You cannot resupply this from ammo boxes. You need to retrieve your bolts from the world. And at one point, if you had an unlucky fight, you just might not get to them. So eventually, like it kind of like gets you less and less ammunition for it. So you need to be careful and play very cautious.
He gets his bolts back. So that's also, you can also hit someone with a charge attack with a throwing knife, by the way. Because I thought the video was nice because it showed. Let's look at it again. Let's see. It is very satisfying to hit people with a crossbow.
I mean, it's a good weapon if you have an enemy that you can kind of like control a little bit, like patrolling or moving somewhere. But in an intense firefight, obviously it comes with big advantage. So it's not as easy as you think to just like hit someone square in the chest to bring him down. So maybe bring a backup.
Yep. So it doesn't one hit hellhounds now. I don't know why. Why do we actually? Why are they not so strong? Why are hellhounds so strong?
Balance. Now, as you see there, like what is currently in the game is not 100% balanced.
Yeah.
So we look at some of the things as well. But then again, it also takes a couple of hits with the other weapons. So the Hellhounds, they're kind of like thick skulls.
I mean, they're hellhounds. They are special. But yeah, the crossbow.
Yep.
Definitely really cool. Definitely hard. Like, I mean, yes, you can retrieve your bolts, but it's still a very risky weapon, personally, I feel like. Because you really... But that's the thing. You would play stealthy. So overall, you wouldn't be like run and gun like I would personally do so. So I don't think this crossbow would be the best thing. I do like using the poison crossbow, but it is definitely a good stealth weapon. And it does a lot of damage. But yeah, that was pretty much it for the crossbows.
Yep.
We will show more, and it will be on the test server. We'll show more and better prepared content for myself at a later time.
I mean, we just want to make sure you guys want to really try that out yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's actually one more thing with the crossbows, which we'll see in the next one.
Yeah.
Which is there's going to be 2 additional traits we're going to release. Those are both basically crossbow centric. One is the bolt seer.
Yeah.
And the other one is the bolt thrower. The bolt seer just gives you a better like outlines of like seeing where the bolts are in the wall. So
but also for throwing knives.
Throwing knives are part of this as well. Yeah. And then we have the bolt thrower, which gives you a faster reload animation. So basically, you're more proficient with the bow. You can specialize being a better bow user, or actually crossbow user, and in this case, just get back into the fight much faster.
Are there different reload times for poison and regular?
No, the regular and the poison have both the same, but there's different animations, obviously, between the hand crossbow and the crossbow.
Is that because of the timing, or just?
No, it's just like it's basically the same size of projectiles, the same weapon. So they kind of share.
Yeah, because I think the other one you like put on top, like the poison, like, and then the other one goes like. I don't know, it's different. I was like, I wonder if that's because of the time.
The timings are, I think, pretty much the same between them, but if you have the trait, it's faster overall.
No time for no time for stuff with the dark side boost. Don't worry, the boost is... We're not done with the boost yet. Do we actually want to play?
Yeah, we can actually talk about the boost right now if you want.
We'll go to the weapon balance, and then we have this nice.
We do the boost at the end.
The boost at the end.
Okay, weapon balance. So again, because we love weapons and we love balancing weapons and we love hearing your feedback about weapons, obviously this is a
I'm so sad.
It's basically we're doing another round of those. Like we're looking at our telemetry data. We're looking at how people were playing with the weapons. We also fixed a couple of bugs which actually made certain things not so work as intended. Maybe we can start with that one.
Yeah, that's what the nitro.
There was an issue with the nitro we found out that was introduced in the last patch where it overall did more damage than was actually in the system. So we kind of brought it back to what it was before, but we did one more change to it, which is that leg shots don't necessarily kill you anymore. You will need like a second hit even on close range. So if you hit the upper body, that's perfectly fine. You can kill one. It's a one-hit kitten. It's an elephant rifle. It just destroys things.
Yeah.
But the legs are not insta-kill anymore. Besides that, we didn't change anything on the nitro. So we want to see how, actually with the fix and with that one tuning thing we did, how the balance of this weapon will work out for the meta. Besides that, what did we do? We did changes to both the Winfield and we did changes to the Dolch. Let's start with the Dolch. So in our stats, the Dolch is one of the most used, if not the most used handgun in the game.
I love using the Dolch.
And I wonder why.
It feels so good. It just feels like it feels good.
Nothing has changed about it feeling good. So we didn't do anything to damage or handling. However, we approached the balance of this gun through ammunition.
Yeah.
So what we felt is that there are certain kit combinations out there which allows you to just rack up an infinite amount of shots almost. Like you run around with 2 Dolch, that means you have 40 extra rounds, then 10 in each gun. It gives you a 60 shots with quick reloading. It's very, very powerful. What we wanted to do is make sure that the shots matter more. So we kind of, for the test purposes, halved the extra ammunition on it. So the Dolch no longer comes with 20 extra rounds, they come with 10 extra rounds. You can do one full reload. You can still combine it with a Vetterli and other weapons using medium capacity or a second Dolch in order to extend that capacity, but by default the weapon is a bit more in line with the other guns. So no more spamming but it otherwise still is the same powerful weapon.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing which is important to realize about this gun, like the gun that it's based off is one of the most powerful weapons of that era. It uses one of the most powerful cartridges. It has a completely unique loading mechanism, semi-automatic, which only a few other weapons had. So in an age where so far you had revolvers being like the mainstay weapon, this is a game changer. And we want that to feel like that. This is going to be an endgame weapon. This is going to be a weapon that costs a fortune to bring into a mission, and it has a certain amount of power. It's just that overall it still needs to balance against the other weapons.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm sad about it because I like spamming girls. But no, I do feel it is a good balancing, because it was pretty insane with how much you can shoot. And it's just like dang, 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 and then it ends. But yeah, let's go to the Winfield, the one that we haven't been finishing yet.
Yeah, so I think we'll probably never ever finish weapon balance anyways. There's always something new in the meta. There's some new trends or a new weapon that comes into play, which then means we need to adjust some of the other weapons. And that's fun. That's good. I mean, it's also how a meta evolves by people coming up with new ways, new cool combinations, etc. And then us seeing, okay, how maybe overpowered they are, how certain weapons might not see as much usage as we want. So what can we do to upgrade them? And for the Winfields, we basically looked at it again, and we still are holding true to the 2-hit kill to the chest. However, we only do that now to the upper torso. So the one thing we did to it was kind of make the compact bullets in general, so that trickles down to everything using compact bullets, not just the Winfields, to require 2 hits to the upper torso, the chest area, 3 hits on short range to the lower body, and then the arms and the legs have kind of like a little bit tuned down as well. So on average, you probably need like a shot or 2 more in order to bring someone down. If you just spam in that direction, like you might hit the arm, you might hit other things. However, if you take your time, if you aim carefully, you can do the same as you could before. It remains a powerful weapon. So we're taking the spamminess out of it is quite a bit. But we're not going back to a full 3-hit kill, because it's also frustrating. You shoot them like 3, 4, 5 times, and they just turn around and kill you. Yeah. So the weapon still needs to remain competitive, but now it's a little bit more in line. And from our internal testing, actually, it felt quite nice. We were happy with it. Obviously, you will be able to test it on the test server once it goes live. And feedback to us. See what you think. If it's too harsh, if it's too weak still. As a change, if you want to have more nerf, if you want less nerf. And what we hope to see is now that basically the Winfield should decline a little bit in usage percentage-wise, and maybe some of the other guns come with more to the foreground. So
we will have to see.
That's a funny part about it. Is like it's a live product, and we really only start seeing if these changes that we have in mind work once we kind of move them out of the test rooms. Yeah. We have limited testing capacity in-house, obviously, like compared to like the thousands of people out there playing. So sometime we want to just roll it out, see how people like it. It's an early access game. Change is meant to be part of the process, and we're feeling very strong about this.
Yeah, so no worries, everyone. I know a lot of people always get really frustrated if nerfs happen or anything, but we are still working on everything, and the balancing is not done. Like, I
mean, weapon changes in a shooter, I think, are like the most controversial changes you can do, right? I mean, that kind of goes without saying. So, yeah, but we are listening, we are watching, we are observing, and we are adjusting based on feedback also.
Exactly. So yeah, let's talk about the boost then, because we don't have an image for it.
I think we're done with the weapons side. I think that was it. That's what you will see. As you can see, kind of like a stealth theme running there. What I can already spoil a little bit is that this patch is more, or this update is more about actually giving you silent weapons. The next one will be more about explosive stuff. So we already saw some of that in the E3 videos, like the sticky bombs we kind of teased, etc. So expect more boom.
One sec, there's something I would like to add. Do we want to mention it?
Ooh. Not yet. We keep that as a surprise. There might be a surprise feature in the next update, but we're not going to talk about it yet because we're not sure if we can get it ready in time.
Okay.
It might only come a little bit later, so we don't want to like set expectations too high for that. So
there is something we're working on, and it might come, but we'll figure that out.
It's also not like the most spectacular feature. but it might still have
Wow.
it might still have some nice things for you. Let's talk about the boost.
Okay, the boost. Yeah, I don't have an image prepared for that, but we're going to talk a little bit about the boost because obviously a lot of you guys have been talking about it and thinking it's, you know, too strong still or too, like, maybe not strong. But what are we going to do with the boost now?
Yeah, so let's recap a little bit. What is the boost for? So we introduced the boost to make sure that people are more committing. They're going more in for the boss. And for that purpose, it seems to be very successful. So what we've seen much more is now people actually going for the targets, killing them, defending. You see other people trying to press in before the banishing is finished and try to contest it. So it's been a healthy change to the game because we see more of what we originally saw at the E3 trailer last year. When we first revealed the game, about the fighting around the bounty, kind of defended, and before the boost, what was the case is that you wouldn't really go in, you would just wait outside and then wait for them to bring it to you and ambush them on the way. There was just no reward for being the team that attacks the guys defending the banishing side. Yeah. And now there is. So for that purpose, we gave the players the chance to see other players if they have the bounty within 150 meters, pretty vaguely. It wasn't 100% precise, but you could kind of see who's around there, and then you can plan your exit. You could say hey, maybe we should go this way, or maybe we just kill these guys on this left side first, or maybe there's just only one on the east side, and it gives you just ways of getting out without just what happened before, opening the door and then just getting either a headshot or not. Now with the boost, we want to make sure that you have enough time to do exactly that. But what we do not want with the boost is that you have enough time to hunt every other player on the map and just basically wipe the server. So it shouldn't become a feature which you then use to kind of dominate outside of the boss compound.
Or just that everyone runs in just because they want to have to get the boost because the boost is such a strong thing.
So what we're trying to do with it is we still have a couple of levers that we can pull for balancing. We can talk about the distance, or we can talk about the vagueness of the particle in terms of how precise it is. And we have the time. And that's exactly what we're going to do for this patch, is this update. I always say patch, it's an update, because it's awesome cool content in it. For this update, what we're going to do is we're going to reduce the time. So you can still do exactly what you had before, but you can't do so after you've run out of the arena. Very likely you've used most of it. So it is becoming a bit more of a controlled feature. You just have 10 seconds now rather than 15 seconds of that time in order to get out. So it's a minor tweak. It's just changing one number. It was actually a very easy thing for us to do.
No, we worked really hard on this, guys.
And based on your feedback, again, play with it on a test server and see how it feels. Again, as I said, we have other ways of tuning the boost further, and we'll continue doing that until it found it's exactly the right spot where it should sit in the game. And there isn't really much more to say about it.
Yeah, I mean, know that we're working on it because it is something that people are still talking a lot about. So we definitely want to let you guys know that we are doing things about it and not ignoring it. So I think that's pretty much everything we have prepared for this update. Yeah,
I mean, as usual, it's not just the new content with the update. It's also bug fixes. Certain minor changes. A couple of small things I can throw out. Again, once this goes live on the test server, you can read the patch notes and you can see what actually changed. But for example, minor things we have done is on the Derringer, for example. We kind of made it so now that if you reload the Derringer, it's like these 4 barrels, and you still have some ammunition actually loaded in the gun, on reload, they all fall down, they're lost now, which means it always reloads in chunks of 4. So it kind of comes down a little bit to how you either spend them or accept that they're lost. It's a tool, it's not fed with ammunition. One reason for it is just it's the complexity of it with an animation point of view, all the edge cases you have to consider if you reload 1, then 2, etc. So we said we want to keep this simple. We'll use our animators for actually doing more awesome, cool new weapons in the future. But now it's more consistent with the behavior.
Yeah, that's something we haven't actually properly talked about, but the fog obviously is something that we also have.
Yes. So the fog, what is the fog? Fog is foggy.
Yeah.
What it does is basically it takes place in the game as a third time of day, so to say.
Yeah.
So there will be missions specifically where the fog setting is in there, just like night missions or daytime missions. And if you play random missions, there's a chance for a mission to be now foggy. Now, the fog is basically our attempt of giving not only just a new time of day, something new to experience. I mean, it looks kind of nice, looks cool. You see like the vagueness in distance, the shimmering effects. It's really satisfying to play.
It looks really cool.
But in a way, it's almost is like a night mode at day, because you know if you have restricted view distance, etc. So if people are kind of uncomfortable playing at night, they might still get like that more close range, mid range oriented gameplay even on a daytime setting.
I'm trying to find if I have some nice foggy clips, but I personally really like the way the fog looks. It just gives everything a bit more of a mysterious, how you call it, atmosphere. Because it's like, it's still pretty, like you can still pretty much clear and see people and shoot them, but I definitely think it adds a lot to it.
It's
really cool.
it's a nice nice addition. It just breaks things up a little bit, gives you something new.
Yeah.
Like so some people just get fatigued and like by just having the 2 times a day. So no, there's a third one, and I'm pretty sure there will be more in the future.
Exactly. Oh, it is
cool. I think
also that was something I want to mention. We are still working on the stalls and freezes. We are actively testing that as well.
Yes.
Definitely talk to us also on the Discord, because we are doing some tests with people that had some issues with it, and we are working on fixes and are working on more fixes and trying to figure out what it is so that nobody has these issues anymore. So definitely know that that's also still a thing.
Yes.
The same is like, what can we say about optimization? Like, this is something that people were a little bit confused about, because we had the performance patch, which was specifically optimization, but now we're doing an optimization and content together in the smaller updates that we have now.
Yep.
So we have more frequent updates. Obviously, you knew that the 2.0 update was only live last week.
Yeah.
Was it last week?
It's not that long ago.
Exactly, yeah. So, and early next week, we're testing this new content. So just
basically bug fixes, optimizations. Like what you will see is a couple of weapons have the animations slightly updated, like just like polish, bug fixing. You will see a lot of that coming out together with these updates. And yeah, I don't think we need to spoil all of it. Some of that we're going to keep for them actually trying it out on the test servers.
Yes.
Not today, but very soon.
And I'm going to make sure there is going to be a banner in the game, the new section that points you towards our new test servers, because that was something that you guys asked me last week during the stream, and I was like, that's actually a good idea. Why don't we have that? So we're going to add that. But yeah, that means we have time for questions. So let us know all your thoughts and ask our questions. Sadly, not today, as we said, but we said at the beginning of the stream, so unfortunately. Yeah, I said beginning next week. I know. Beginning next week. I know what we said. We just said it. Okay.
What questions do we have?
Let me see. About the player spawns, clues, and boss locations. It goes so fast. Which one of you is Dennis? Let's see. The chat goes way faster than I anticipated. Oh, there's something, are we still thinking actively about something to put on fire from down player mates?
Actually, we thought about that. We might do it. I can't say at the moment. There's no one actively working on it. The thing is, if we do it, ideally it's kind of consistent with fires in the world in general, which means that we need to have a solution to actually also like put out like campfires and stuff like that. Like if we would go into that one, rather than just only being on the players. We want to do something like that. It's something which we think is strong. It's just not a priority at the moment, but yeah, we get there.
Windfield rate of fire is bigger than actually problem with the Windfield. Any chance of approach and reverting the headshot app?
We have to see. So I mean, what we want is that the weapons have their range, which they're useful at. I mean, a shot in the chest usually kills you just like a shot in the head would, if you get to it. But the thing is, we want to make sure that the weapons are not just lucky headshot machines at any range. And in the end, the rate of fire of a weapon dictates much more how effective it is. We want to make sure that the weapons have a specific range. The Windfields are using pistol ammunition. Pistol ammunition isn't very powerful. It is also not very stable in the air. We do not have a proper ballistic system, right? Normally, if you would have like the actual bullet dropping down, which we do not have in the game, thing would balance automatically because they would just like fall out of the sky after some minutes. Like it's very, very hard to shoot a pistol at accurately like beyond 50 meters. We do not have that. At the moment in the game, the crosshair is always zeroed into exactly that range you're looking at. It's almost if you had like an automatic magic rangefinder. That has a problem. That means you can very easily do headshots, and if it's just then down to the damage, that every weapon could do a headshot. Basically, the weapons which fire fast have the highest chance of doing that. And so we're going to run with the headshot changes we did last time, but we want to see how the other changes are accommodating with that at the moment, how they kind of play together. But as we said in the beginning of the stream, weapon balance is a never-ending thing, and I'm pretty sure we'll have to go back to each of the weapons eventually and do some changes here and there as we introduce new content, new features, or we see new like trends emerge in the meta.
Okay, yeah, because like some people are asking why we don't nerf the nitro, as in like not making it headshot. But you have to understand it is a very, very powerful weapon. It would make no sense to have a weapon that's in real life very powerful just into this weak weapon based on. So you have to be careful. It is a risk to take it. It is a risk to play against it. But you obviously have to figure out some tactics because it is not impossible.
I mean, the nitro round is actually a pretty interesting round because I mean it bleeds off a lot of damage very quickly. Like it's a very powerful round up close. But at distance, it is outperformed by like modern cartridges, like what we see in the Mosin again, for example, like these long bullets. They kind of keep the power much more consistently over distance. While this is an elephant gun, like you're going to use that at a short to medium range, and you destroy what is there. But long range, like it isn't really that effective.
So some people are asking, are we planning to add any type of rain?
Rain. We have some ideas about additional times of days and stuff like that, but this is too early to talk about yet. Okay,
and the same with the 3 to 4 player teams. This is something that we get a lot of people asking, but it would completely change the game. So as of now, we do not have any plans for them, but maybe far in the future. But
we don't know. At the moment, we don't have any plans. The thing is, like, by having a limit of 10 players at the moment in the game, if we were to increase the team size, it means there would be less teams around, and that kind of also destroys attention. If you know there's a maximum maybe of like 2 other teams with you, the moment you hear gunfire left and right, there's no surprise anymore, and it makes the whole thing too predictable. And we want to keep expecting like that type of tension, the unknown in the game. And 2 teams, 2-player teams, and then a number of those together with solos and 10-player map is a very good combination to actually keep that suspense up.
Let's see. Solo only is something we've talked about. So there are some things, and I'm just going to quickly put them out. Female hunters are on the roadmap, so you can see when abouts we were planning to work on those. We also have talked about prestige rewards in the previous 2 streams, I think, even. So those answers you can also find, because I do want to get some questions about people that haven't had the chance to get these answered. So definitely watch the previous developer livestream Q&As, because we answer a lot of these questions. But yeah, for more than bigger teams at the moment, no, maybe sometimes in the future.
Maybe we can also put a bit of context to some of the things, like for example, people saying, yeah, but the nitro is so OP, or this weapon is too weak, etc. I mean, we do have telemetry, we do have numbers, and for example, I can tell you that the Nitro Express is below 5% in purchases. The Aftermath is even less. It's like below 1% of purchases. I think I might be lying now because I don't have the exact number, but I think we had the Winfields are taking about like roughly 14% of all the weapon purchases. So you can kind of see like how certain weapons are very strong in the meta or weak in the meta, and it's also important for us to take that into account when we do the balancing of things, obviously.
Yes. South American servers is also something we are still working on, and that is also on the roadmap. Let me see. Can the music play again and again in the menu, and then can you make a button options to mute it? So you want to have technically just like Hunt be your humming song media player, but I understand. I would love a training dummy or lobby where you can test weapons. That is something.
What is it? A training map. So on roadmap we have our custom lobby basically, which allows you, whenever it gets released, you see it on roadmap, to kind of play offline, like play without an unranked game, and you have control, which means technically you would be able to just try things out there very easily. We are thinking about possibly adding some sort of a shooting range down the line, but this is nothing we can confirm right now.
Okay. Let me see. What is the headshot range for crossbows?
The headshot range for crossbow, that is a good one. I think it's between 20-30 meters maximum. It's, I mean,
for the hand or the pistol?
I think the difference between them isn't that much, like 10-20 meters or so. It is very short, but there's a difference, right? Like with a gun, you just put the crosshair and line the sights up with the head. With this one, you need to kind of aim higher because the crossbow bolts are actually like falling down. So actually scoring a headshot is much harder.
Okay. Let me see. What is the damage difference with the new silence rifles? So I assume between the regular ones and the silence, it's like
it's really hard to talk about exact damage values because I mean what you need to keep in mind. I mean we had this discussion as part of the weapon block we released some time ago. We have multiple multiplications on the damage. So the weapon has a specific damage. The shot then travels. The further it travels, the weaker it gets. If it hits a specific body part, that certain body parts take more or less damage of a specific bullet type, and you have penetration, like if you shoot through a wall, etc. So there's lots of variables in that system, so it's very hard to say like this weapon does exactly like 125 damage.
Exactly. Yeah.
But it really depends on whether you hit him in the arm, whether you hit him in the arm through a wall, whether you hit him at the arm at 20 meters or at 50 meters, 60 meters, and it all depends also on the type of bullet you're using, etc. So it's a very, very complex system, has lots of different variables, and it makes it very hard to talk about specific data in there.
Exactly, but we did update the weapon graphs in the latest, or in the weapon blog, but I think there will be maybe another weapon blog in the future. I don't know when. Yep,
we might also just do another update to the graphs, as basically just to make sure that they kind of keep in sync with what's happening in the game.
I saw another one. Oh, when do you get the crossbows in the bloodline? Around what?
I don't have the number. Actually, I might have the number exactly. Give me a moment. Let me look at that preliminary changelog here.
Yes.
So we have at the moment the crossbow unlocking at rank 70. We have the hand crossbow unlocking at rank 51. And we have the poison hand crossbow locking at rank 68.
Okay, there you have it. The water devil. Okay, so the water devil will not be during this patch. Yes. But it will come very soon in one of the upcoming
It was
updates.
teased, so...
Exactly. And you can see the... like, you guys, it's very funny how you guys ask for all these features.
Maybe show in the roadmap.
Yeah. Let's just look at the roadmap. Then we'll go over some things that you guys have been asking, because we see a lot of female hunters, servers, and all those things are on the roadmap. Go to huntshowdown.com/roadmap and see our nice roadmap. So okay, so the short term is currently like 4 weeks and less. So everything that we have listed here, if everything goes well, which we assume does, gets to go in the thing. So this was we still have to update it. I think it's going to get updated again very soon. We obviously already
patch release.
Exactly. We have the dark side boost that we announced and we have in the game now. When your hunter dies, you have the option to watch your partner continue the mission from a first-person perspective, aka a spectator mode.
That sounds spectacular.
So that's something we're working on. That's also something that's been requested by a lot of people. Looting, which is in the game now, obviously, turn certain interactions into hold actions, which is...
This actually is coming with both the last patch and this update. So what we have is in 2.0, like so the update is currently live. We already changed how the clues work, right? You just need to hold the button down, which means if you find yourself on the fire, you can kind of cancel out. And with the upcoming update, you'll also be able to do the same with the bandages. So you will bandage by holding the button down.
Yes, exactly. I think that's a good change. I personally really liked it because I know that a lot of people are like, oh my god, I'm so confused. Front end, so obviously dev screen, which is added also in the last patch. Add a random as a friend, also added in the last patch. Tier and loader based hunters idle animation in menu, which was that they look more badass, also in the last patch. Rank badges, what is that exactly?
So rank badges basically means that it will give you a bit more of a visual representation of your progress in the game. We show a bit more about that possibly for the next update.
Yes. Okay, so like crossbows obviously aren't gonna come next. Then we have new traits. We had some new traits like the tomahawk and the beast face, and we're gonna get 2 more traits obviously with the crossbows. New rifles, new shotguns, new melee weapons, new tools, consumables, a lot of new stuff.
More of everything almost.
Exactly. the Water Devil. So this is in the before 4 weeks. Consider that this was out 1.5 weeks ago, something like that. So coming, don't worry, guys. It's all coming. New sidebike features, new time of day fog, obviously, more performance stuff, level loading time improvements, game engine initialization. Whoa, hard words. I can't pronounce properly.
So many things.
So many things.
It's basically take a look at the roadmap.
Exactly. So,
and also, what's super important as well is feedback to us. We do have channels for you to give us your ideas, your thoughts, etc.
If you can't find it, go to feedback. It's on the top here, and then it will go to our feedback page. But as you can see, Female Hunters, we are working on the map still, but that comes obviously later.
It's all there.
It is all there. Dennis is made for TV. Can we have a hint on what the prestige rewards will be? As we do not have the prestige rewards, I know a lot of you people always ask for this very often.
I can give the answer again.
Oh, he can give the answer. Okay.
So basically, prestige is a bragging rights mechanic.
Yeah.
I think we mentioned it 1 or 2 times before in the streams when the questions came up. We don't want to give you gameplay rewards for prestiging, but we would obviously make prestiging meaningful for you. So the first step of actually making the prestige a bit more interesting is actually making sure people see that you have prestiged. At the moment, I think the first step of that was on the dev screen. You can see that now. But for example, if you matchmake with a random guy, you don't necessarily see what rank he is, what type of hunt he brings, or if he has prestiged, etc. So just like making sure you can see that information a little bit more before committing to the match, that might be very helpful, and see basically the presence of the ranks, the prestiging of players be a bit more across like visible across the game.
Yeah, so obviously I know a lot of you guys are very like, oh my god, but it should be something cosmetic. Obviously, as you know, we don't have cosmetics in the game yet, but
we
it's
might at one
something
point. I think I read something on the long-term goals,
like outfit selector. So no worries, there will be more prestige things. It's because it's currently still further out that we don't have anything for it in place, so we can't say like this is what you're gonna get. We're still gonna think about it. We're gonna think about cool stuff that you guys get for prestiging. Obviously at the moment it is not yet, you know, as it is what it eventually will be, but know that we are working on something and that it gets to be.
And keep in mind, we mentioned that the last stream already, when we will do wipes during our early access. For example, when the crafting system comes online, the prestige ranks or prestige levels will be retained. They stay. So we don't lose out on anything that might come afterwards for prestige.
Yeah, so I know a lot of people are South American servers. We're being worked on. We just have to figure out and get the good provider and everything. So no worries, that is also something we are busy working at. Is there going to be different vitality shot in the future?
A different vitality shot in the future?
But that is what we just showed.
We have some ideas for even more, but at the
more
moment,
as in more vitality shots.
But with this update, we give you a new weak version, which is cheaper, gives you 50 health, and the one you already know, which is slightly more expensive now, which gives you a full restock.
Yes, and I see definitely structured full song. Maybe that's coming. Please change the road sign font. Too hard to read on nighttime.
The road sign font. You mean as you move around the world?
Oh, okay.
That's a good point.
Yeah, if more people have that, definitely let us know on the feedback side. Yes, we are reading this.
It's just so fast, I can't keep up.
Yeah, I know. It's a reskin of, you know. Well, as I said, at the moment we don't have any outfits or vanity items yet, so this is something that is still 3 months and further out. So we are still thinking about those things, but it is not our priority right now.
Yep.
So yeah. And there will be things for Gamescom. We can't share any information on that yet, but we are going to do something for the community. So if people are going to Gamescom, we hope to see you guys there. But more details on that later. Let me see. Can you show up the roadmap when the week started? You mean so that it's more clear when you see that the roadmap started, so we know from when those weeks count? Yeah, I think we should be able to add that.
Yeah, I think we updated the roadmap at E3.
Yeah, but we're gonna update it again, I think, with the upcoming patch.
Yes,
So
it might only happen when the upcoming update is going from the test server then to live.
Yes,
but obviously we want to keep the roadmap and the items on it up to date as much as possible.
Yeah, so the holding turn action is the one where you hold, like the clue now that you have the little charge circle instead of that having to press E, or like what we want to do in the future with the bandages, so that you hold it to apply. The R and the it's you guys should read the roadmap. There's so many answers that you guys ask and that are all on the roadmap that you can read. I think it's, let me see, where is it under? Because someone asked
what was the question again?
About marking the map. Pretty sure we have it somewhere.
Yes, so it's an improvement we have on the roadmap to give you a chance to kind of like put waypoints, markers,
exactly.
etc.
But that is all in the roadmap.
Yes, it's just nothing which is around the corner.
Exactly, but definitely read our roadmap. There are lots of things.
You see it on the under the long-term features.
Oh yeah, that's it.
On the
yeah.
front end,
Markers
it's the second point there.
Yes. So yeah, let me see. Anything else? Front and long term.
I think we've kind of run through most of it, right?
Yeah. Oh, what do the tarot cards do? Well, that's something that you will see in the future.
What could they do?
Yeah. Let me see.
Yeah, I think the rest.
I hope you realize that people don't die with the night, so that's why the purchase rate is so low.
No, they die.
They die.
They die. And I think they always cry when they do, because it's very painful.
It is very painful. What is the damage multiplies in different body parts? I think
it's nothing we can easily say, because it's very, very different. It depends on the bullet, it depends on the location. It's also different between AI cast. So it's one of the main ways for us to balance the game is playing with the multiplications based on the base value, obviously. And we might do another block eventually, talk a bit about this in detail, but this is data which changes very, very drastically a lot, and it's hard to maintain that online. But what we try to do with the numbers is maybe giving you as balanced as possible an experience, which also feels somewhat realistic.
Yes. Yeah, we are doing, obviously, animations for hunters get improved over time. It just, I don't know if we're gonna make the behavior of AI, because that's something I saw a little while back. It's not here, but it was in the past. But are we gonna do more about the behavior of AI, that they react more on things on their own rather than what they do now?
No, absolutely. So we have a couple of people working on AI improvements as well. So we're gonna introduce more AI stuff in the upcoming patches. So it's nothing I'm gonna talk about today, but obviously AI work is still being done, and there's a couple of really cool things there.
Okay. Yes. Anything else? Yeah, I think we're gonna put it on slow mode for next stream for sure, because this goes really fast. Let's see. Are you going to rework Bloodline and Logs? All the cool tools are too far out.
So we will see some change when the crafting hits. Obviously, the crafting means that certain things will become craftable, and that means they won't be unlockable. So in a nutshell, like as a maybe high level tease, we will have the main weapons remain as unlocks, and then we have the variants of them move into that secondary layer, which is the crafting system, where you unlock and then create them. They will obviously mix things up quite a bit in terms of where things will end up on the Bloodline unlock ranking, so expect a lot of changes when the crafting hits.
So yeah, there you have it. A lot of questions answered once again, a lot of the same things that you guys definitely should watch the previous developer live streams, because then you can get all the questions that already have been asked and answered, because we do want to keep every of the questions, you know, as much unique to every like, I wouldn't say episode, but every live stream. But
it's also great to see like some of the questions recur, because it kind of shows you what people really care about, exactly. and that's still important for us to see. And
that's why it's also important to join to Discord if you haven't yet, which is discord.gg/Showdown, and I can also link it. I can only sadly link it in the chat on if the bot. Okay, the bot does not want to work with me. But yeah, join the Discord, because you can ask us questions there in our free time, in our work time, because we were pretty much there all the time. Like, we are both on there, and a lot of other developers as well as our moderators. So definitely come and ask us questions there, where
absolutely.
we have more time also, and we can take our time to think about the questions more. And we also have some known issues and like looking for group channels and everything. Like, people post fan art, people post other cool stuff. It's a really nice place. It's very fun.
Very friendly moderators.
Exactly. He's just checking But yeah, no, definitely do that. And then I think this was it for this stream, and we're gonna test something after this, so you might see a familiar face on this channel. So we hope to see you guys there, and see you guys next stream.
Take care.
So,
ciao.
bye.
Thanks for tuning in.
And one important thing, obviously Hunt is still off 20% with the Steam Summer Sale. Make sure you go buy it, or buy it for your friends, or let your friends buy it for themselves, or ask their moms to let them buy it for their children. All kinds of options. Okay, bye guys.